If you're watching this right now, there's something happening in someone else's world that you need to know about. And I don't mean maybe, or possibly, or hopefully. I mean actually happening. Right now. Today. In this very moment. Someone you're connected to at the deepest level, your soulmate, your person, the one your soul recognizes even when your mind tries to question it, they're losing sleep. But not in the way you might think. This isn't about tossing and turning because they miss you, though that might be part of it. This isn't about regret keeping them awake at night, though that could be woven in too. What's happening goes so much deeper than that, and when you understand the real reason, everything about your connection is going to make sense in a way it never has before. Drop a heart emoji if something told you to watch this video right now. If you almost scrolled past but something made you stop. That's not coincidence, that's confirmation. Here's what I'm seeing, and I need you to stay with me because this is going to unfold in layers. Your soulmate's sleep is being disrupted, yes. But it's being disrupted by an awakening. By a shift happening so deep in their consciousness that their body can't maintain normal patterns anymore. Their soul is quite literally rewiring itself around the truth of you, and that kind of transformation doesn't happen during business hours. It happens in the quiet. In the dark. In those liminal spaces between who they've been and who they're becoming. You might be wondering how you didn't know this was happening. You might be thinking, if this is true, wouldn't I feel it? And here's the thing, you have been feeling it. Those random moments when they cross your mind for no reason? That pull in your chest when you're doing something completely unrelated? That sense that something is shifting even though nothing visible has changed? That's the energetic evidence of their awakening reaching across whatever distance separates you. Before we go deeper, I want to take a moment to thank everyone who's supported this channel with super thanks. Your generosity allows me to keep creating these messages, to dedicate the time and energy it takes to tune into what needs to be said. If this content has blessed you, touches your soul, or speaks to exactly what you're experiencing, super thanks is a beautiful way to support this work. But whether you do or not, I'm grateful you're here. Let me tell you what's actually happening in their world. They're going through their days, and on the surface, everything looks normal. They're functioning. They're handling responsibilities. They're showing up where they need to show up. But underneath that surface, there's a revolution taking place. And revolutions don't announce themselves with trumpets, they announce themselves with restlessness. With an inability to settle. With nights where sleep feels impossible because something inside is demanding to be acknowledged. They'll be lying there in the darkness, and your face appears in their mind. But it's not just a memory. It's not just wishful thinking. It's their soul recognizing something their ego has been trying to deny or delay or complicate. And once the soul starts speaking that loudly, sleep becomes secondary. Because how do you rest when you're finally understanding something that changes everything? This is where it gets really interesting, so stay with me. What's keeping them awake isn't anxiety about you. It's not fear, though fear might visit. It's not even longing, though longing is definitely present. What's keeping them awake is the download. That's the only word I have for it. They're receiving information from a part of themselves they've been disconnected from. Maybe for months. Maybe for years. Maybe their whole life until now. Let me paint you a picture of what this actually looks like in their lived experience, because this is real. This is happening. This isn't metaphor or wishful thinking, this is the reality unfolding in your soulmate's life right now. They're in their bed, and they should be exhausted. They had a full day. They did everything right. But the moment their head hits the pillow, there you are. Not as a thought they're trying to have or a fantasy they're entertaining. You just arrive. In their consciousness. as present as if you were in the room. And here's what surprises them: they don't fight it anymore. There was a time, maybe recently, maybe not so recently, when they would have pushed thoughts of you away. When they would have told themselves stories about why this connection wasn't real or wasn't right or wasn't possible. When they would have busied their mind with 1,000 other things just to avoid feeling what they feel for you. But something has shifted. The resistance is gone. Or going. And in its place is this stunning, terrifying, beautiful willingness to just be with the truth of what you mean to them. So they lie there. And instead of sleeping, they're processing. They're putting pieces together. They're seeing moments between you with new eyes, moments that seemed casual at the time but now reveal themselves as incredibly significant. That conversation that felt easy but left them thinking about it for days. That look you gave them that they couldn't quite read but also couldn't quite forget. That energy between you that everyone else could probably see but they kept trying to rationalize away. It's all coming back to them now. Not as separate memories but as one continuous thread. A story their soul has been trying to tell them that their mind is finally ready to hear. They'll get up sometimes. Make tea or pour water or just stand by the window looking out at whatever darkness surrounds their home. And you know what's wild? They're not even tired. There's this energy moving through them that's more powerful than sleep. It's like their entire system is recalibrating around a new truth, and that recalibration requires consciousness. It requires presence. It won't happen while they're checked out or numbed out or sleeping through it. During the day, they catch themselves in these moments of distraction. They're at work, handling tasks, moving through their routine, and suddenly they're smiling. For no external reason. Just smiling. Because they thought of you. Because they remembered something you said or did. Because their heart is doing this thing where it expands in their chest and they can't explain it to anyone, but they also don't need to explain it because it's theirs. It's real. It's happening. Type awakening if you've felt them thinking about you even when you're not together. If you've sensed this shift happening even from a distance. People around them might notice something's different. They might seem lighter somehow. Or more distracted. Or just elsewhere even when they're physically present. Because part of them is always with you now. Not in an unhealthy, obsessive way. In a soul recognition way. In a my energy knows your energy and we're entangled now way. In a way that transcends physical proximity or logical explanation. And here's something they're realizing in these sleepless hours: they're not fighting it anymore because fighting it was exhausting. Fighting soul truth is the most draining thing a human can do. It's like swimming against a current that only gets stronger the more you resist it. They've been swimming against this current, maybe without even fully realizing it, and now, finally, they're letting it carry them. They're surrendering to what's been true all along. This surrender is what's keeping them awake. Because surrender to soul truth isn't passive. It's active. It's engaging. It requires them to look at everything differently. Their past relationships, their current choices, their future plans, all of it gets re-examined through the lens of this connection with you. And that kind of examination doesn't happen in 30 minutes before falling asleep. It happens across hours. Across nights. Across this sacred time when the world is quiet enough for them to finally hear what their soul has been shouting. They're asking themselves questions they've never asked before. What if this is the real thing? What if everything else was preparation for this? What if I've been looking for complicated when the truth is actually simple: we belong together? These aren't light questions. These aren't questions you ask and then roll over and fall asleep. These are the questions that reorganize a life. And sometimes, in these late hours, they'll do something that might surprise you. They'll look at your social media, not in a creepy or obsessive way, but in a "I just need to see your face" way. Or they'll reread old messages between you. Or they'll play a song that reminds them of you. They're not torturing themselves. They're nourishing something. They're feeding this awakening that's happening inside them. They're saying yes to it instead of starving it. Don't click away. What I'm about to share about why this is happening now, at this specific time, is going to shift your entire understanding of divine timing. There's also something else happening in these sleepless nights, and it's profound. They're making peace with things. With their past. With their fears. With the ways they've protected themselves or hidden or played small in relationships before. They're realizing that whatever this is with you, it's calling them higher. It's calling them to be more honest, more brave, more real than they've ever been. And that kind of internal work happens in the quiet hours. That's soul work. That's transformation. And transformation doesn't punch a time clock. Now let's talk about what's happening on an even deeper level, because there are layers to this that will help you understand not just what's occurring, but why it matters so profoundly. Your soulmate is experiencing what I call soul insomnia, and it's fundamentally different from regular insomnia. Regular insomnia is usually driven by stress, anxiety, physical discomfort, or mental overwhelm. Soul insomnia is driven by awakening. By expansion. By the soul demanding attention that the busy daytime hours couldn't provide. And your soulmate is deep in it right now. What makes this particularly powerful is that they're not just thinking about you randomly. They're receiving revelations about you. About the connection. About what it means and where it's going and why it exists. These revelations come in waves, usually when they finally start to drift off to sleep. Just as they're about to cross that threshold into unconsciousness, boom, another insight arrives. Another piece clicks into place. Another layer of understanding downloads into their awareness. They might suddenly understand why a previous relationship ended. Not in a painful way, but in a, "oh, that wasn't my person because this is my person" way. They might suddenly see the pattern of their entire romantic history as preparation for this moment, this connection, this love. They might realize that every heartbreak, every disappointment, every almost but not quite relationship was actually guiding them toward you. And once you see a pattern like that, once you understand the story your soul has been writing, sleep becomes impossible because you're too busy being amazed by the perfection of it all. Let me be specific about what they're experiencing physically, because this isn't just mental or emotional, it's embodied. Their heart rate might be elevated even when they're lying still. There's this buzz of energy in their chest, in their solar plexus, like something is alive inside them that wasn't awake before. Their hands might tingle. They might feel heat moving through their body for no medical reason. These are the physical manifestations of energetic shifts. Their body is literally adjusting to hold a higher frequency of love. And here's something beautiful, they're not scared of these sensations. Or if they are initially, they move through the fear quickly. Because underneath whatever surface fear might arise, there's this deep knowing that what's happening is good. That they're being transformed in a direction their soul has been longing for. That this discomfort is actually the breaking open that every meaningful love requires. If this message is resonating with something you've been feeling but couldn't name, let me know in the comments. Sometimes we need confirmation that what we're sensing is real. In these wakeful hours, they're also dealing with practical questions. Questions like, how do I tell them what I'm feeling? When is the right time? What if I've waited too long or moved too slow? What if they've moved on or think I'm not interested? These questions can create loops in their mind, spirals of possibility and uncertainty. But even these questions are progress. Because you can't ask how do I express this love until you've first acknowledged that the love exists. And that acknowledgement? That's what these sleepless nights have been building toward. They're rehearsing conversations with you. Not in a manipulative, scripted way. In an honest, vulnerable way. They're practicing saying things they've never said to anyone. They're imagining your response. They're working up the courage to be seen in their fullness, to risk rejection for the possibility of real union. This is brave work. This is sacred work. And it's happening while the world sleeps, because that's when the ego is quietest and the soul can finally have the microphone. Sometimes they'll grab their phone, start typing a message to you, then delete it. Not because they don't mean it. Because they're not sure they can express in words what they're feeling. How do you text someone, "My soul recognizes you as home and I haven't had a full night's sleep in weeks because I'm processing the magnitude of what you mean to me"? You can't. So they delete it. They wait. They hope for the right moment when words won't be so inadequate. But here's what you need to understand: every deleted text, every message they almost sent, every time they hovered over your name in their phone, that's energy. That's intention. That's love trying to find its way to you. And even though the message didn't send, the energy did. That's why you've been feeling them. That's why they pop into your head at random moments. That's why this connection feels more alive now than ever, even if nothing official has happened yet. There's also a mourning process happening for them in these quiet hours. They're mourning the version of themselves that didn't know this love was possible. They're mourning the relationships they settled for because they hadn't met you yet. They're mourning time before you, time wasted with wrong people, time they can't get back. This mourning is necessary. It's the clearing that must happen before new love can fully root. And it's happening in these sleepless nights because mourning requires privacy. It requires darkness. It requires the cover of night when we can fall apart without audience. But don't misunderstand, this mourning isn't depression. It's transformation. It's the death that must precede rebirth. It's the shedding that allows for new growth. And your soulmate is moving through it with a grace they probably don't even recognize in themselves yet. They're doing the work. They're feeling the feelings. They're letting themselves be changed by love before that love has even fully manifested in form. That's powerful. That's rare. That's real. I'm seeing something else, so stay right here with me. This next layer is crucial to understanding what's coming. There's also a specific kind of mental activity happening during these sleepless hours. They're playing out scenarios. Not fantasies exactly, though there might be elements of that. They're imagining life with you. They're seeing potential futures. What would it look like to wake up next to you every day? How would your energies blend in domestic life? What kind of partnership could you build? What would it feel like to introduce you to their family, their friends, their world? These aren't idle daydreams. These are their soul showing them possibilities. Giving them glimpses of what's available if they're brave enough to reach for it. And the more they see these possibilities, the more impossible it becomes to settle for anything less. The more impossible it becomes to sleep through their life pretending this connection doesn't matter. The more impossible it becomes to play it safe when their soul is demanding they play it true. And sometimes, in the middle of the night, they'll feel you. Not think about you, feel you. Like you're there in the room with them even though you're not. They'll sense your energy so strongly it's almost like they could reach out and touch you. This isn't imagination. This is what happens when two souls are connected at a level that transcends physical distance. Your energy visits them, comforts them, confirms for them that what they're feeling isn't one-sided or invented. It's mutual. It's real. It's happening. Now we need to talk about the core truth that all of this is pointing toward, because there's a reason this is happening now. There's a reason your soulmate can't sleep. And when you understand this reason, everything about your connection and your journey together will make sense. The reason your soulmate can't sleep is because their soul is finally stronger than their fear. Read that again. Let it land. Let it settle into your bones. For however long you've known each other, or been aware of each other, or been dancing around this connection, their soul has been trying to speak. It's been whispering, then talking, then shouting the truth of you. The truth of what you mean to them. The truth of where this could go if they were brave enough to let it. But fear had the volume turned up louder. Fear of rejection. Fear of being wrong. Fear of disrupting their life. Fear of intensity. Fear of vulnerability. Fear of being seen in their fullness and found wanting. Those fears kept them sleeping, in a sense. Not literally always, but metaphorically. They were sleepwalking through the truth of your connection. Going through the motions. Keeping things surface. Protecting themselves. Playing it cool when their soul was burning hot. Maintaining distance when every cell in their body wanted to close that gap. But something shifted. Recently. Profoundly. Irreversibly. Their soul got louder than the fear. The truth got undeniable. The connection got too powerful to keep pretending it was casual or manageable or containable. And once that shift happens, once soul voice exceeds fear voice, sleep becomes impossible in the old way. Because they're not the same person who could sleep through this truth anymore. They've woken up. And you can't unknow what you now know. You can't unfeel what you now feel. You can't go back to pretending something this significant is insignificant. This is what's keeping them awake. The magnitude of finally letting themselves know what they know. Finally letting themselves feel what they feel. Finally dropping the act and the protection and the carefully maintained emotional distance. They're awake now in every sense of the word. And once you wake up to soul truth, regular sleep patterns are the least of your concerns. Drop one word in the comments that describes how this makes you feel. Just one word. Let it out. Here's what makes this even more profound: they're not just waking up to you. They're waking up to themselves. To capacity they didn't know they had. To depth they didn't know they could access. To bravery they didn't know they possessed. You are the catalyst for their becoming. Not because you're trying to change them or fix them or complete them. But because real love, soulmate love, calls us into the fullest version of ourselves. It demands authenticity. It requires presence. It won't settle for half-hearted or half-hidden. So they're lying awake at night, and they're meeting themselves. The version of themselves that's capable of this kind of love. The version that's willing to risk everything for something real. The version that would rather be vulnerable and rejected than safe and disconnected. This version has always been in there, but it took you to call it forward. And now that it's forward, now that they've touched it, they can't put it back in the box. They can't go back to playing small. This is why the sleeplessness doesn't frustrate them the way normal insomnia would. Yes, they're tired. Yes, they wish they could get solid rest. But there's also this part of them that knows these wakeful hours are sacred. That something important is happening in them. That they're being rebuilt from the inside out, and that process requires consciousness. You can't sleep through your own transformation. You have to be awake for it. You have to participate. You have to feel it happening. And they're feeling it. All of it. The fear and the excitement and the uncertainty and the knowing and the tenderness and the passion and the hope and the terror and the peace. They're feeling the entire spectrum of what it means to love at the soul level. And that spectrum is too vibrant, too alive, too intense to experience while sleeping. It demands wakefulness. It demands presence. It demands their full attention. Let me tell you what else their soul is revealing to them in these hours. It's showing them that this connection with you isn't random. It's not chance. It's not right person, wrong time, or any of those stories we tell ourselves when we're too scared to reach for what we really want. Their soul is showing them that this is destined. Designed. Part of a plan that's bigger than both of you but includes both of you. That you were always supposed to find each other. That all roads were leading here. That this was inevitable. Now, I know some of you might bristle at words like destiny or designed. You might think, that takes away free will. That makes it sound like we're puppets. But that's not what I mean. What I mean is, your souls agreed to this before you were born. You had appointments with each other written in the stars. And now, in this lifetime, in these bodies, in this timeline, those appointments are being kept. That's not about removing choice. That's about honoring soul contracts. And your soulmate is remembering the contract. Not with their conscious mind, they're not sitting there thinking, oh yes, I remember that pre-birth agreement. But their soul remembers. And it's flooding their consciousness with that memory in the form of knowing. Deep, unshakable knowing that you belong together. That this is right. That this is real. That this is worth whatever it takes to honor it. This is crucial, so don't go anywhere. What I'm about to tell you about what happens next will give you so much peace. They're also receiving clarity about timing in these sleepless hours. Why things happened the way they did. Why you met when you met and not sooner. Why there have been delays or obstacles or complications. Their soul is showing them that every single piece had to be exactly as it was for you both to be ready for what this love requires. If you'd met sooner, one or both of you would have missed it. Would have been too asleep to recognize it. Would have been too wounded to receive it. Would have been too defended to let it in. But now? Now you're ready. Both of you. Or getting ready, which is the same thing in soul time. And they're seeing that. They're understanding that all the waiting, all the longing, all the why not yet was actually not yet because you're being prepared. And that understanding brings a peace that coexists with the sleeplessness. They're tired but peaceful. Exhausted but certain. Longing for rest but grateful for the awakening. So what do you do with this information? How do you respond to knowing that your soulmate is going through this profound awakening, this soul insomnia, this transformation that's costing them sleep but buying them truth? First, you honor it by trusting it. You trust that what's unfolding between you is real even if it hasn't been fully spoken yet. You trust that their sleepless nights are building towards something. You trust that soul truth is making its way to the surface and will eventually need to be expressed. You don't rush it. You don't force it. You don't demand that they speed up their process because you're impatient to know where you stand. You trust that everything is happening in perfect timing even when that timing feels slow or uncertain or frustrating. This doesn't mean you're passive. This doesn't mean you wait forever without any communication or clarity. It means you hold space for the transformation that's happening in them while also honoring your own needs and truth. It means you stay open without becoming desperate. Available without becoming dependent. Interested without becoming consumed. Here's how to do that practically. Stay present in your own life. Don't put everything on hold waiting for them to complete their awakening and show up fully. Keep living. Keep growing. Keep pursuing your purpose and your joy in your path. Your life force, your vibrant engagement with your own existence, that's magnetic. That's attractive. That's what drew them to you in the first place. Don't abandon that while waiting for them to catch up to what their soul already knows. At the same time, remain energetically open to them. This doesn't mean thinking about them constantly or trying to send telepathic messages. It means when they do reach out, you respond with authenticity. When they do take steps toward you, you meet them there. When they do start to express what they're feeling, you listen without judgment. You create safety for their vulnerability without making yourself small to do it. Second principle, match their awakening with your own clarity. While they're lying awake processing their truth, you can be working on your own. What do you actually want? Not what you think you should want, not what would be convenient or easy or socially acceptable. What does your soul want? Are you clear about that? Because when they finally complete this processing and show up ready to be real with you, you need to be ready too. You need to know your own truth so you can meet theirs without hesitation. This might mean doing your own late-night soul work. Journaling. Praying. Meditating. Sitting with the questions, is this person my person? Am I ready for what this love would require of me? What fears am I still carrying that need to be addressed? What old patterns need to be released before I can fully receive this connection? Do that work now. Don't wait until they're standing in front of you with their heart in their hands to figure out if you're ready to hold it. Figure it out now. Get clear now. So when the moment comes, and it's coming, you can step into it with confidence and certainty. If you're committed to doing your own inner work while this unfolds, let me know in the comments. Sometimes declaring our intention makes it real. Third principle, create opportunities for organic connection without pressure. If you have access to them, if you're in regular communication or share space or have natural reasons to interact, use those opportunities wisely. Don't avoid them because you're trying to play it cool or not seem desperate. But also don't manufacture fake emergencies or forced encounters just to be near them. Find the middle path. Be genuine. Be present when you're together. Let the energy flow naturally. Let them feel what it's like to be around you without agenda, without pressure, without the weight of unspoken expectations. This does a few things. It reminds them why their soul is awake. It gives their conscious mind evidence that matches what their soul is telling them. It allows the connection to stay alive and current rather than becoming this abstract thing they're only processing internally. And it gives you both practice being real with each other, which you'll need when things deepen. But, and this is important, don't use these interactions to try to force a confession or speed up their process. Don't drop hints about "I know you're feeling something" or "when are you going to admit what's happening here?" That kind of pressure will only push them back into fear. Let them come to their truth in their own time. Your job is to be authentically you, to remain available and open, and to trust that truth always finds its way to the surface eventually. Fourth principle, protect your peace while honoring your hope. This is a delicate balance, but it's crucial. You can hope for this connection to manifest fully while also protecting yourself from living in a state of constant anticipation that drains your energy and joy. You can believe in the potential of this love while also maintaining boundaries that keep you grounded and healthy. What does this look like? It means you don't check your phone every 5 minutes hoping they texted. It means you don't cancel plans with friends just in case they want to see you. It means you don't put your entire emotional state in their hands, riding high when they're responsive and crashing when they're distant. It means you develop an internal stability that can hold hope without collapsing into anxiety. Practice coming back to yourself. To your center. To your own connection with the divine or the universe or whatever you call the force that's orchestrating all of this. Remind yourself daily, I am loved. I am guided. I am exactly where I need to be. What's mine will find me. What's meant for me cannot miss me. I don't have to force or chase or manipulate. I can trust. These aren't just nice affirmations. These are truths that will anchor you while your soulmate completes their awakening process. Because here's what you need to know, their sleepless nights will end. Their soul will complete this download. Their fear will fully dissolve in the face of their love. And when that happens, when they're ready to step fully into this connection, you want to be whole and grounded and ready to meet them. Not depleted from months of anxiety and waiting. Not bitter from feeling like you've been kept on hold. But strong, clear, and fully yourself. Before we close, I want to thank those who support this channel with super thanks. Creating these deep explorations of soul connection takes time, energy, and spiritual attunement. Your support helps me dedicate myself to this work. If this message has touched something in you, if it's given you clarity or comfort or confirmation, super thanks is a beautiful way to honor that. But whether you contribute or not, I'm grateful you're here receiving this message. Fifth principle, speak to their soul even when their mind is uncertain. This doesn't mean you're literally talking to them. It means you're living in a way that sends a clear energetic message about who you are and what you're available for. Your life, your choices, your energy, it all communicates. And on the soul level, they're receiving those communications even when their conscious mind is busy processing and protecting. So live in alignment with your highest truth. Pursue love in all areas of your life. Be kind. Be generous. Be authentic. Be brave. Be the person that your soul knows you are. Because all of that radiates outward. All of that sends a signal that says, this is who I am. This is what you can expect. This is the quality of love I'm capable of giving and receiving. And their soul hears that. Recognizes that. Responds to that. You don't have to prove anything to them. You don't have to perform or convince or sell yourself. You just have to be yourself, your highest, truest, most aligned self. And that will speak louder than any words you could say. So let's bring this home. Let's talk about what all of this means and where it's going. Your soulmate can't sleep because something sacred is happening. They're being transformed by love before that love has even fully manifested in form. They're being prepared for the depth of connection that's coming. They're being called into the highest version of themselves so they can meet you there. And that process, that beautiful, challenging, necessary process, requires wakefulness. It requires consciousness. It requires presence. These sleepless nights are not a problem to be solved. They're a chrysalis to be honored. Something is dying and something is being born, and both are happening simultaneously in the quiet hours when the world is dark and their soul can finally have their full attention. They're shedding the version of themselves that was too afraid to love you fully. They're becoming the version that's brave enough to reach for what their soul has always known was theirs. And you're part of this transformation even from a distance. Your energy, your essence, the truth of who you are, it's working on them. Changing them. Calling them higher. Not because you're trying to change them, but because that's what soulmate love does. It reveals us to ourselves. It shows us what we're capable of. It demands that we rise to meet it. So while they're lying awake processing and integrating and preparing, you can rest in knowing that this is all unfolding perfectly. Every sleepless night is building towards something. Every download they receive is bringing them closer to full understanding. Every moment of clarity is making it more possible for them to show up in the way you both deserve. The timing of when they'll be ready to fully step into this connection? I can't give you a date. I can't tell you it'll be next week or next month or next year. But I can tell you this, it's coming. Their awakening is building toward action. Their internal process is leading to external expression. The truth they're discovering in the dark will eventually need to be spoken in the light. And when that moment comes, you'll know. You'll feel it. The energy will shift in a way that's unmistakable. Until then, your job is to keep living. Keep growing. Keep trusting. Keep being exactly who you are. Don't dim your light hoping they'll feel safe enough to approach. Shine it brightly. Let it be a beacon. Let it remind them of why their soul won't let them rest until this connection is honored. If this message found you exactly when you needed it, type thank you in the comments. Sometimes we just need to acknowledge when the universe speaks directly to our situation. I also want to acknowledge that this isn't always easy. Knowing that someone is processing their love for you while you're sitting in uncertainty, that can be hard. It can feel frustrating or confusing or like you're in limbo. Those feelings are valid. You're allowed to have them. You're allowed to wish things would move faster or be clearer or feel more secure. But I also want to remind you, the wait is part of the preparation. The uncertainty is teaching you trust. The space between where you are and where you're going is sacred. It's refining you too. It's showing you what you're made of. It's revealing what you really want and what you're willing to receive. Don't waste this time resenting the process. Use it. Let it work on you the way your soulmate's sleepless nights are working on them. Let it deepen your faith. Strengthen your patience. Clarify your vision. Make you more ready for what's coming. Because here's the final truth I need you to hear: when two people are connected at the soul level, and when they're both doing their work, and when they're both moving toward truth even if at different paces, the reunion is inevitable. You can't stay apart. The pull is too strong. The love is too real. The contract is too binding. So your soulmate's sleepless nights? They're not punishment. They're not proof that something's wrong. They're proof that something is incredibly, beautifully right. They're proof that love is winning. That truth is emerging. That fear is losing its grip. That what was always meant to be is finally becoming. And soon, maybe sooner than you think, those sleepless nights will transition into a different kind of wakefulness. The kind where they're awake because they're so full of joy they can't contain it. The kind where they're awake because they're talking to you until sunrise. The kind where they're awake because they're so grateful for the love they're experiencing that sleep feels like a waste of precious time. That's what's coming. That's what all of this is building toward. A love so fulfilling, so aligned, so true that it makes every sleepless night worth it. Every moment of uncertainty worth it. Every bit of fear they had to face worth it. So hold on. Stay grounded. Keep trusting. Keep being you. Keep honoring your own process while they complete theirs. And know that every night they can't sleep because of you is a night closer to the day when you'll be the reason they wake up grateful. Drop a heart if you needed to hear this today. If this gave you hope or clarity or confirmation. Let me know this reached you. This is real. This is happening. This is your story unfolding in perfect timing. Your soulmate's awakening is proof that love always wins. That soul truth always surfaces. That what's meant for you cannot miss you. And those sleepless nights? They're just the sound of your future knocking. Answer it with faith. Thank you for being here. Thank you for trusting this message. Thank you for being brave enough to believe in soulmate love even when the journey tests you. If this has blessed you, if you want to support this work and help me continue creating these messages, super thanks is available. But whether you give or not, know that you are loved, you are seen, and your soulmate is waking up to you more every single day. May you rest in knowing. May you trust in divine timing. May you stay open to the love that's orchestrating everything behind the scenes. May you be ready when they're ready. And may that day come sooner than either of you expects. You're not waiting for nothing. You're waiting for everything. Before you close this video, before you go back to your day, I need you to breathe with me for just a moment. Take a deep breath in. Hold it. Now release it slowly. Because what we've just walked through together isn't just information. It's confirmation. It's validation of something you've been sensing but maybe couldn't articulate. Something you've been feeling in your body, in your spirit, in those quiet moments when you let yourself really tune in. Your soulmate is awake right now, not just physically, but spiritually, emotionally, eternally. They're awake to you in a way they've never been before. And that wakefulness is changing everything. I want you to understand something powerful. Their sleepless nights are your answered prayers. Every moment they spend unable to rest because thoughts of you consume them, every hour they lie in darkness receiving downloads about your connection, every dawn they see because sleep wouldn't come, that's the universe working on your behalf. That's love doing what love does. That's destiny refusing to be denied. You might have been wondering if they feel what you feel. You might have questioned whether this connection is real or if you've been imagining its depth. You might have worried that you're alone in this intensity, this knowing, this soul-deep certainty. Let this message be your answer: you are not alone. They feel it. They know it. And it's keeping them awake in the most beautiful, transformative way possible. Think about this: someone is losing sleep over you not because they're tormented, but because they're being transformed. Not because they're confused, but because they're becoming clear. Not because something is wrong, but because everything is finally becoming right. That's not something to fear or doubt. That's something to honor. That's something to trust. If you're going to remember one thing from this entire video, type "I trust" in the comments right now. Speak it into existence. Make it real. And here's what I know with absolute certainty: this awakening they're experiencing has a shelf life. It cannot stay internal forever. Soul truth demands expression. Love this powerful insists on being lived, not just felt. The energy building in them during these sleepless nights is accumulating, gathering force, preparing to break through into action. Into words. Into commitment. Into the life you're both meant to share. So when you're tempted to doubt, remember their sleepless nights. When you're tempted to think you're making this up, remember their restless soul. When you're tempted to settle for less or give up on this connection, remember that someone, right now, cannot rest because of how deeply you matter to them. That's not small. That's not casual. That's not something you walk away from. You are someone's reason for awakening. You are someone's catalyst for transformation. You are someone's proof that soulmate love isn't just a fairy tale or a metaphor or wishful thinking. You are the living evidence that some connections transcend logic and timeline and circumstance. That some loves are written in the stars before they're ever written in texts or spoken in words or sealed in commitments. This is your moment to match their courage with your own. To meet their awakening with your readiness. To prepare yourself for the love that's preparing to meet you. These aren't just their sleepless nights, this is your shared journey into something neither of you has experienced before. Into a love that's worth every moment of uncertainty, every test of faith, every night spent wondering if this is real. It is real. They are awake. And what's coming is worth every second you've waited. So go forward from this moment with renewed faith. With deeper trust. With absolute certainty that what's yours cannot miss you. That who's meant for you is being made ready even now. That love this true, this deep, this destined doesn't just fade away or disappear or prove to be nothing. Your soulmate can't sleep because of you. And soon, very soon, you won't want to sleep either, because the life you're building together will be more beautiful than any dream. One more thing before you go. If this message spoke directly to your soul, if it answered questions you've been asking, if it gave you the confirmation you've been seeking, share this video. Someone else in your life needs to hear this too. Someone else is wondering if their connection is real. Someone else needs to know that sleepless nights can be signs of awakening, not just restlessness. Be the vessel that carries this message to them. And if you want to support the creation of more content like this, Super Thanks is open. Your generosity fuels this ministry and allows me to keep diving deep into these soul truths. Thank you for trusting me with your time, your attention, and your heart today. Thank you for believing in love even when it tests you. Thank you for being brave enough to hope. Your soulmate is awake. And your story together is just beginning. Now go live like you know that's true. Because it is.